Hi, and welcome to the Jenspiration Conversation. My name is Jennifer, and if this is the first time, the second time, the third time, or the 40th time that you have landed on my channel, I very much welcome you to this space. Thank you very much for clicking and coming into this video. I very much appreciate your time and your energy. I almost get choked up when I do that opening just because I started this channel with such pure intentions and I had no idea if it was going to land or resonate, but I just felt called to do it and I'm feeling that reciprocity. So it means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Today's, what's today? May 1st. I am filming this on May 1st. So today is the full moon in Scorpio and the weather is really giving Scorpio energy. I don't know if you can see how gigantic the waves are, but it's raining and it's windy, but it's warm. And I think that's kind of significant. So we've definitely got some white caps. And honestly, sometimes I don't like filming when it's not nice outside because I'm like, oh, viewers aren't going to want to look at not great weather. You know, it brings you down. But I really felt called to just film today. The full moon energy is just like, let's just go do it. So I hope this video finds you well. Today's topic is near and dear to me. I'm titling it something like Love Letters, the lost art of writing a letter. And it was re-inspired by a podcast episode that I did just before Christmas 2025. For those of you that don't know, I also have a podcast, and I did an episode called Love Letters, and I felt called today to make a video along those same lines. So before modern technology, before the internet, before social media, people used to write letters. I am a Gen Xer, and I was born in 1977, and I grew up in school and with my friends, you know, passing notes in class and, you know, ripping a piece of paper and writing it, and do you like me? Check yes or no, or will you go to the dance with me? And I was feeling really nostalgic this week just because I'm kind of craving that more nostalgic kind of connection when people, you know, put themselves out there in a different way versus shoot their shot with a DM or something like that. So I want to just chat with you today around the different types of love letters. And then part 2 is just going to be take out the love part. And there's something very therapeutic about writing a letter to someone that you may never send, or writing a letter to someone to express how you feel and then setting it on fire, doing that burning ritual. So let's start with the gooey stuff first, which is the love letters, the whole intent behind this, this episode. So the podcast that I did spoke with regards to writing a love letter to past versions of yourself. So for example, through my spiritual awakening, I have just rediscovered my love of writing. So I have written letters to my younger self. I've put pen to paper and I've written a letter to the kind of, 8-9-year-old Jennifer. I've written a letter to teenage Jennifer. I've written a letter to 20-year-old Jennifer breaking into corporate Canada. And most recently, I wrote a letter to 40-year-old Jennifer. I am 48 now, but I wrote a letter to 40-year-old Jennifer because when I'm thinking back, 40 became a bit of a turning point for me. So the reason I wanted to make this video is just to encourage you to write a love letter to yourself, whatever version of yourself. You can write a love letter to yesterday's version of yourself. It's a beautiful way to express some of the things that you are feeling but might not know how to say. And it can start to open up healing towards that version of you, to help nurture that inner child, to help guide that inner child, to reassure her or him that things are going to be okay, that look at you now, love on that version of yourself. So that's kind of part one. Part two is the lost form of love letters to someone you really care about. If you are married or in a long-term commitment, I'm telling you, a couple of sentences written in your handwriting, delivered to someone, are kind of magical. And while the gesture is small, the impact is really large. And I've done this with most to all of my romantic relationships, kind of without thinking about it. There was an individual that I lived with, and I did that, wrote him love letters in his lunchbox, not like professing deep, profound love, but cheeky things or sweet things, or I didn't do it every day, but I did it every once in a while. Or, there was a time where I used to put like kisses and hugs on like the mirrored lipstick. I did those cheesy things. I call them cheesy, but when I'm looking back on them now, it was just a way for me to express myself. And I have written people that I've been romantically involved with, men, actual love letters. I have expressed myself through letter writing, and I've left it for them. And unfortunately for me, most of them didn't land properly. They weren't received in the way that I had hoped. But that didn't stop me. I still kept writing my feelings and how I cared about them and how I wanted the best for them, or how I was supporting them in that moment. And while once in a while it was received, a lot of the times it wasn't. So I stepped back from it, and I just kind of stopped doing it. And I missed it when I stopped doing it. So that tells me everything that I need to know. It tells me that it's still something that I like to do, and I feel it healing, and it's a way to express myself, because in my mind, the person receiving the message from me, I want them to hear my voice saying it, but I want them to read. And then they have a tangible thing that they can hold on to. When someone says something to us, vibrationally it floats and it lands and we hear it, that's great. 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, a month, a year goes by, and you're kind of like, how did she say that again? Or how did he say that again? If you have a handwritten letter, you can go back to it and remember how you felt when you first read it, or you can reread it again and feel a brand new sentiment with it. So I think my intention for this video is just to encourage you to write a letter to someone you care about. And if you want to take the romantic piece out of the equation, write a letter to your mom, write a letter to your sibling, write a letter to your best friend, write a letter to your mentor, write a letter to your coach. And here's the thing. Once you've written the letter, if you don't want to send it, don't send it. Just keep it, or store it away, or send it to them maybe later. Or if you write it and you're like, I really want this person to receive this, then send it to them. You will be surprised at how well it's received. You will be almost taken to like this magical little place. And whether you watch them read it or not, or you give it to them and you say, please read this later, whatever, there's no rules to this. It's just, I want to encourage you to get back to a form of communication that can take away time and space. Think about the war times, okay? Men went off to war, and women, and in the midst of chaos, they would find moments where they could carve out a few minutes, find some kind of piece of paper and a broken pencil, and write beautiful sentiments to the person that they cared about, put it in an envelope, gave it to the army mail, and hoped that it eventually made it back home. They didn't know when. There's no like read or received, like you get it instantly on your phone. They had no idea if and when it would get there. And then when it did land, the person on the other end is reading this from a moment in time in the chaos. So if someone can find a moment in time in chaos and war and suffering and pain to write a beautiful sentiment about how they feel and felt, sent it off into the world and hoped that it landed where it was supposed to, then shame on us for not being able to do that today. Shame on us for not being able to take 2, 3, 5 minutes to put our thoughts and feelings on a piece of paper for someone else. People are starting to think that gestures have to be grandiose, and we're seeing all these huge proposals and gender reveals and all of these things on social media that turn into monumental events. And listen, that's wonderful. But it doesn't have to be that big to get the same feeling. To achieve the same goal of sharing your thoughts with someone doesn't have to be huge. It can be tearing off a piece of paper, writing something, folding it, and putting it in your partner's work bag, or leaving it on their windshield on their car, or tucking it under their pillow at night, or in the blanket, or, I don't know, putting it in their wallet when they're not looking, so that when they go to pay for something, there it is in their wallet. You never know when they're going to read it. There's this beautiful lost art form to pen to paper, handwritten in your handwriting, sentiments on how you feel about someone. It also ties into journaling. Journaling is such a beautiful way to express yourself, and most of us who journal, no one will ever read. It's just journaling your thoughts, writing them out. And listen, if handwriting gets too tiring, sure, you can type out your journaling. That's fine. But I wanted to make this video about pen to paper, pencil to paper, marker to pen, marker to paper in your handwriting. The flow and the energy behind your words, how you write, how you get them out on paper. Okay? The last part of the video is, I'm just going to have a little drink. The last part is exactly what I said at the beginning, how therapeutic it is to write how you feel for someone, for a situation, for a person, a place, a thing, a job, whatever. Get it out, get the feelings out, and then set it on fire. I have done this a lot. I was bullied in school, elementary, junior high, high school. I even got bullied at work. But through my healing that I have done and the forgiveness that I've been able to grant my bullies, I have written all of them letters and set them on fire. And I was bullied by girls, all girls. And junior high and high school was the worst time for me, the absolute worst time. And when I was writing, I was taken right back to that place and how I felt, and like tears were landing on the paper, making it wet. Like that's how much it was so like cathartic to get it out. All the things that I wanted to say to these bullies, I put on a piece of paper and I wrote, and like the pen was just going to town. And some of them I reread to myself, but most of them I didn't, because once I wrote it, I released it. And then I took a lighter and I set it on fire and I held it over the sink. You got to do this safely. I held it over the sink and I watched it burn, and then I just let the ashes go into the sink, and I just said, universe, you can take this resentment. You can take this from me. I forgive this particular person. There was a day that I wrote 3 letters and I forgave 3 people in one day. And then that kind of started a whole spiral where I spent an entire summer writing letters to everyone. I wrote a letter to my parents. I wrote a letter to bosses. I wrote a letter to ex-boyfriends. I wrote a letter to old roommates. I wrote a letter to literally everyone almost every other day, because I was just purging. And it was just this beautiful release. And ever since then, I haven't looked back. Like, these people are all in my rearview mirror that I've forgiven. And it's been such a beautiful exercise that I've picked it back up again. So when I did the podcast at Christmas time, I had just written a letter to my teenage self. And that's what kind of clicked for me to do the podcast episode. And that one I read out loud to myself, and I cried my way through it. And that one I set on fire as well. I didn't feel the need to keep it. I felt the need to burn it. So there are no rules to this. Whether you keep all of the letters, or you deliver the letters, or you burn the letters, or you sage the letters, or you drown the letters in the ocean, or you put them in a message in a bottle and you send it away. Whatever you choose to do with the letter, it's yours. It's do whatever you want. It's your letter. But I think what I really want you to take away from this video is the beautiful art form that letter writing is. It's so wonderful to be able to express yourself, get it out, burn it, whatever. But the real premise of this video is what I wanted you to get around the love piece. Write a letter to someone you care about. Write a letter to the city you live in. If you are, the whole premise of Sex and the City was, the whole show was all about relationships and the female friendships, but it was also a giant love letter to the city. So maybe you just moved somewhere. Maybe you just maybe you're away from home and you're missing your city. Write a love letter to your city. There's no rules. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your grammar doesn't have to be perfect. Your punctuation doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to come from you. Write a letter to your partner. I've been writing letters to my future husband. He's not in my life, but I've been writing letters to him about how excited I am to meet him, how excited I am to do these things with him, how I can't wait to, be in his energy. And, I did a whole paragraph on how I was excited to hold his hand. And I read it back to myself and I was like, oh man, maybe someday I'll share it with him, because I date them all. I date them because then when I go back and I can remember how I felt. So that's really what I wanted to share with you today, was just the beautiful, beautiful feeling and gesture that a love letter is. That you putting pen to paper and in this case, giving that to someone that you care about, it's a kind of a game changer if it's well received. Even if it's not, still do it, because it's a form of self-expression and it means something to you, and the right people will receive it the right way. So I just want to show you, I brought some of the journals that I have right now. Just wanted to show you some of them. This one here, you guys will recognize. This is my channeling journal. So when spirit channels things for me, I channel them in here. This is my moon cycle diary. So I kind of write down how I feel according to the moon, because I just did a video on that, how women are attached to the moon cycle. This is my love This one's leather. This is my love journal. So a lot of the love letters to my soulmate are in here. This is for my business. Anytime I get creative ideas for my business. This is a great book that I picked up at a bookstore. It's called 1,000 Things You Don't Know About Me. There's prompts in here that you can just kind of write to yourself. This one is ideas for this channel, and this one is ideas for my podcast. So, I mean, you don't have to be as organized as me, but I just know which journal to grab when I'm feeling a certain way. So those are just some of the journals that I have. Lastly, what I want to close with is, I also mentioned this in the podcast. What am I at for time? 20 minutes. Okay. Lastly, what I want to close with is, if you don't know what to get someone or buy for someone for a gift, give them a journal. Even if you don't have any idea if they write or not, give them a journal. My favorite gifts have been journals. 3 of these were gifted to me, and to me, I'm just like, that's such a beautiful gift. You're gifting me the opportunity to write my feelings down. So if you don't know what to buy for someone, hey, Mother's Day is coming up. If you don't know what to get your mom, get her a journal. And you don't have to say anything, but maybe just write her a little something on the first page about how you feel about her, and close it, and then let her do what she wants with that journal. Just food for thought. So that's the video for today, my friends, just on the epicness, the eliteness of letter writing. And I am on a mission to bring it back into this digital society. It's my mission to help us come back home to ourselves, come back here, tune out, tune in, and then put it on paper. Write it out with how you feel. So thank you for sitting with me. Thank you for having this Jenspiration conversation with me. I appreciate you very much. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to express myself. If I could write you all a letter, I would. So thank you. And I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.